on the global market and striking the right note. Yet music made by bots is well on its way. We're going to be finding out from one artist who says she's the first person to release an album entirely composed using artificial intelligence. Wowzers. All of that coming up on this edition of Talking Business. Good morning, America. Evening, Asia. Hello, world. Welcome to the program. Let's get cracking. The founder of the world's biggest social media site, Mark Zuckerberg, is meeting French President Emmanuel Macron. This is all at a big tech summit going on in Paris, which is being attended by other top tech and business leaders. It's working. Facebook is facing a raft of challenges in Europe, including, of course, the Cambridge Analytica data breach, where the details of some 87 million Facebook users were improperly shared. On Tuesday, you saw this, he apologised to the European Parliament, saying it was a mistake, and I'm sorry. Europeans, they're worried about big tech and data security. One lawmaker even asked Mr. Zuckerberg whether Facebook should be broken up to try and deal with some of those, those mounting concerns. Boom. Let's get rid of that. Okay, hey, let's go and speak to Stephanie Hare, who's fast becoming a reg, aren't you? An independent tech expert, and joins us. Stephanie, always good to see you. So let's look at this. Mark Zuckerberg, he said to the British invitation, he said, no, I'm not coming. I'll send some of my senior people. He went to Brussels, though. He's speaking to Europe. He's speaking to the French President, Macron. Other big tech bosses are there. What are they doing? Is this some type of European charm offensive?
Well, the first reason I think that Mark Zuckerberg went to Brussels and not London is that Brussels is a way for him to talk not just to the United Kingdom, which is, of course, still a member of the EU until next year, when Brexit takes effect, but to the other 27 member states as well. So it's frankly more effective, and right now he has to deal with EU law. So he was trying to reassure members of the European Parliament and, of course, the European Commission, which would have the possibility and the power to make his life very difficult as a CEO with anti-regulatory environments, anti-monopoly regulation, etc., fines once the GDPR comes into effect.
Which is the big, just for the uninitiated, the new tough data laws
coming in next
Europe.
Week, right?
Yeah.
So he
Friday,
needed to show atonement, right? So he had to apologize, repentance, atonement. A bit of theatre. Yeah, but it's interesting also. So yeah, he's doing the theatre, but you've got, as I said, the boss of Uber, Microsoft, IBM here. Is this off the back of, because we know that President Emmanuel Macron has been very vocal, right? He desperately wants the foreign investment. In fact, he wants France to be a tech hub, doesn't he? Yes. What did he say? A startup nation. Startup nation. So we have a really interesting character in the French president. So Emmanuel Macron has been in office now for a year, and he's got another 4 years to go before he has to be re-elected. He also has a majority in parliament. So this is a politician who is in a very enviable position compared to many world leaders, and that he really has this, he's got the runway, the scope, and the support to really execute a vision. And his vision is he wants it to become a startup nation, he wants to become a digital nation, and he wants to see France take really the top crown from London as the tech investment capital of Europe.
But do you think, does Macron have the power and the relationship with these tech companies to get them to cough up more? I mean, Europe wants them to pay more tax. And Macron has targeted a lot of these big tech giants for them using these low tax countries, right?
That's right. Well, it's really important to keep this in scope. Absolutely, I'm sure he's going to get some commitments to investment. But the United Kingdom remains far and away the biggest tech hub in terms of investment. They had more investment last year than France, Germany, and Sweden combined. We're talking $7 billion. So London remains the powerhouse. Now, that doesn't mean that Paris couldn't be fast on its heels, but it's got quite a long way to go to catch up. But Brexit is coming online next year. That makes people very worried here in the United Kingdom about being able to get the tech workers that you need with visas, investments, passporting of finances, all of that stuff. And you've got a French president who's on a massive charm offensive, telling all these tech companies, I will do whatever it takes to make France very attractive for you and easy to do business here. Set up in France.
There you go. Okay, we'll embrace you, he says, probably, in French. I don't know how to say that, but anyway. Steph, always a pleasure, short and sweet, but thank you. Stephanie Hare joining us there. Let's go from this charm offensive, whether it's from Macron or the American tech giants, to the big day for banks on Wall Street. Yeah, Congress has passed a bill which actually rolled back many of the regulations and oversights of banks that was brought in following the financial crisis. Let's go straight over to Joe Miller, who's on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Joe, good to see you, my friend. Hey, what's going on here? So is this really Washington unraveling the regulation that was brought in after the crisis to prevent another crisis?
Well, Donald Trump certainly seems to think so, Aaron. He's tweeted that this represents big changes to Dodd-Frank, to that legislation that was supposed to prevent another crash, essentially, supposed to prevent banks collapsing overnight. But very few people agree with Donald Trump, not least Barney Frank, one of the two men behind the original legislation. And because he says, and many others say, that this bill really leaves a large part of Dodd-Frank intact, that the regulations on big Wall Street banks, the strict oversight, that remains in place. The big changes, however, are when it comes to small regional banks. Now, these are not household names, but they're very